Growing up poor, what was the simple thing you saw at someone's house that confirmed they were rich? We had to wait for the cleaning lady to finish in order to play in his basement. A different friend has a 4-story house in one of the most expensive neighborhoods in my city, complete with a balcony and designated music room. Meanwhile, I was tallying how much money I had left on my food stamps. I was impressed with indoor plumbing and electricity. I literally grew up in a log cabin in Alaska and we hauled water from the pump by the river. I'd never seen a TV either. I lost my mind the first time I saw a flushing toilet when we flew to visit my grandmother in the lower 48. My mum said I stood there flushing the toilet over and over trying to figure out where the water was coming from / going to. I developed this irrational fear that if I used flushing toilets I would get sucked down, so I'd use it, flush and then run hell for leather from it. I was 4. What year was this? Just curious. My grandma talks about not having indoor plumbing for a portion of her childhood while living on a farm, but I'm guessing your story is quite a bit more recent. 1980 to 1984. My parents were up there to work on the pipelines and then the whole industry took a hit and we were dirt poor. I remember being hungry a lot. HBO, Showtime, and a gaming console. Had a few friends and a cousin that had Sega Gen, NES, Super NES, Game Boy, and Dreamcast, all at once. Spoiled fuckers. The Dreamcast. Trash compactor. It was 1978 and we had moved to the US from the Philippines. Now that I think of it, I don't think I've ever seen a home trash compactor or a garbage disposal in real life. Just in movies. Are they still a real thing? Had a trash compactor in my house for a while. Only used for inorganic trash. The thing was somewhere around 25 years old and made the most horrifying screech every time we used it. Sounded like it was full of rabid badgers being slowly crushed into hate goo. It also used special heavily waxed paper bags, which would tear 1/3 of the time. That being said, a cube of trash about the size of a mini fridge and the same weight saved a lot of space for trash pickup. A friend of mine had her own phone line. This was late 80s, early 90s. Yes. A second phone line was for the rich. And soaps in the shape of shells and seahorses. In a guest bathroom. Soaps like shells and seahorses that were only for guests, having their own room. I've been told that my grandmother didn't have her own bed till she divorced my grandfather. They had a pretty big room with a long dining table they apparently only use for Thanksgiving / Christmas. Like damn, that room was bigger than a good portion of my house and it's just wasted most of the year. Was good for hide and seek though. Oh yes. The good room. My parents had one of those, but it eventually turned out that they used it all the time. They just kept us kids out. It legit blew my mind that a friend of mine had a maid. Like, a full-time maid or just once a month or week. Wouldn't matter, any maid at all. Some of my friends worked as maids. Kids who had their own bedroom, and also a playroom. The idea of the separate bedroom and playroom just for the kid was baffling to me. Just an only child in a middle-class home. A dishwasher, having a finished basement. Absolutely this. I grew up most of my childhood in a very nice trailer home. A basement was something that rich folk had. A finished basement was the height of luxury. As John Mulaney would say. Having to ask where is the trash can? A hot tub and built-in swimming pool. Built-in swimming pool is more impressive. Think about it, you'd only buy a hot tub if you were really rich. Furniture in every room. I thought a table dedicated to eating was the height of fancy living. My mom got creative with this one. She was really good at living poor. She got plastic patio furniture, table and chairs, on sale, a folding screen, a cheap lawn chair, and some of those egg crate style layers of padding. She'd rent a 1-bedroom apartment and put little kid me in the actual bedroom to keep my toys / mess contained. Whatever dining nook the apartment had became mom's bedroom with the lawn chair and padding as her bed and the screen for a little privacy. The plastic table and chairs filled one side of the living room, which allowed little kid me to watch cartoons on the rabbit ear antenna TV while eating breakfast and prevented giant food messes whenever the cartoon hypnosis set in. A room with a bar. Having a bathtub and a separate shower in the master bathroom. This still seems rich to me. Shit, I'm 36 and we just refinished a house where I have a bathroom in my bedroom for the first time in my life. And I've got central air, it's like I'm an official adult. Steak knives. Knives dedicated to the purpose of slicing steak. Apart from the regular knives. What do you consider a regular knife? We had butter knives and steak knives. One was dull and mostly for spreading and one was for everything else. We were super pro lol. Oh, I too had butter knives and sharp knives, for meat and shit, but one day I was at a friend's house and we were eating steak. There was butter knives on the table, so I supposed we would cut the steak with them because it was tender or something. No sir. His mom arrived at the table with a set of silver knives that they would use only for steak. Like nothing else but steak. Sorry for not being super clear, aha. By regular knives I meant butter knives and steak knives that are not only used to cut steak, but everything that requires something less inoffensive than a butter knife. Hot dog and hamburger buns. If you aren't using the regular bread, you were rich to me. 90% of the replies here are poor people thinking the middle class is rich. And honestly, that should be fucking depressing. I was about to comment things were clean and matching, but then I realized that is just what rich meant to me. That doesn't actually make someone rich. The golden stripper pole though. That might qualify as something simple that says rich. A video game system, any video game system, a dishwasher, a garage. If you had one of the above, you were rich. If you had all three, you must have been, like, a gazillionaire. Mine was a refrigerator that dispensed ice and water through the door. I wanted that so bad. I thought it was magic and it must cost a fortune. My husband says we're fancy because we have fridge water. We are definitely not fancy. Y'all fancy. Color TV. We had a TV, it was just a 12 or 14-inch black and white. This was in the 80s and it was not uncommon for supper to come from behind the grocery store. I remember in the 70s, how rich you were if you had a color TV. I think there was one in the town I grew up in before I moved away in 4th grade. Plus, when one of my friends had said he'd seen, not actually had one, just seen, a television with a remote control, all my friends and I thought he was the biggest liar on the face of the earth. Same, color TV was a huge luxury. A phone. Non-local fruit. Stairs. Meaning they had more than a single-story house. We were pretty fancy with our double wide though. I felt the same way when I was a kid. Having a basement or a second floor was something I always wished we had. Vacation pictures. This one was it for me. Especially if they were framed and hung or displayed. Each person getting their own bathroom. Or bedroom, sharing a bedroom with an older brother and a younger sister sucked. Edit, both of my brothers are in their 20s and my sister, almost 10 years younger than me, isn't even a teenager yet. Please, stop making porn jokes about a family member of mine that's literally a child. One was enough, and already inappropriate. I was saying it wasn't ideal to share a room with them, but better than all of you people who probably don't realize how much abuse actually goes on in the porn industry, especially the ones where they have a little clip beforehand of the person saying they wanted it, which sounds oddly suspicious to me. My family got by okay, but certain food products that I saw commercials for on TV that people have always struck me as bourgeoisie. Sunny D, Gushers, Go-Gurt. My house was all generic brand and water-based beverages. Any high-end sweetened cereal. I would have sleepovers at my friend's house and open her pantry door as we walked into the house to see what options I had. We had a good time hanging out, but fun cereal was a bonus. They had HBO. It was about 1980. My friends all had cable. I was always stunned at how much there was to watch when our TV would only get 5 to 6 channels. I had 3, a pantry, a revolving pantry. Name brand cereal. They had Trix, we had Kaboom. They had Cocoa Puffs, we had Choco Balls. Okay, but Berry Colossal Crunch is so much better than Captain Crunch. Them rich kids don't know what they're missing.